The probe's been in space since it left Earth in 1977. The Voyager 2 was launched 16 days before its twin, Voyager 1. They were initially sent to study the outer planets, so Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. They completed that task in 1989, and they've just kept on going.
When NASA lost contact with Voyager 2, the silence echoed not just through the vast expanse of space, but through every corner of human curiosity. A spacecraft that had become more than just a machine, a symbol of ambition, endurance, and the boundless reach of human inquiry, suddenly went quiet. For decades, Voyager 2 had been our far-flung envoy, sailing through the interstellar sea beyond the grasp of any planet, steadily transmitting whispers of the universe back to Earth. And then, just like that, nothing. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. This moment didn't arrive with a dramatic explosion or some cataclysmic error. It was a subtle, almost imperceptible pause, one that, once recognized, seemed to halt time. The spacecraft, now more than 12 billion miles from Earth, simply missed a command. A mere tilt of its antenna, just a slight misalignment, cut it off from the only home it had ever known. The shift was less than 2 degrees, an almost negligible error here on Earth. But out there, where the distances are measured in light hours and the margin for error is thinner than a whisper, it was enough to shut down the conversation. The loss of contact hit with a strange blend of sorrow and awe. Voyager 2 was not just a probe anymore, it was history. It was our voice flung into the void, carrying golden records and hope and science in equal measure. The sudden silence was like hearing the last word of a story that had not yet ended. It forced the world to pause. Not because we rely on Voyager 2 for navigation or communication or commerce, but because of what it represented. A living relic of an age when the stars seemed closer, when discovery was driven by wonder more than necessity. The implications of Voyager 2 going dark reached far beyond the scientific community. There was a weight to that moment, a hush that descended across space agencies, classrooms, observatories, and even living rooms where enthusiasts followed its journey. This wasn't just the loss of a signal, it was the dimming of a beacon, a cultural, psychological, and emotional event wrapped in a technical glitch. Voyager 2 had been the first and only spacecraft to visit Uranus and Neptune. It had sent back stunning images and priceless data from the ice giants, showing us strange moons and magnetic fields that defied expectation. It had continued its journey beyond the influence of the sun, into interstellar space, a frontier previously untouched by any human-made object except its twin, Voyager 1. Each transmission it sent was more than data. It was a message of perseverance. So, when that link broke, it felt like something foundational had shifted. The world didn't stop because of panic or disaster. It stopped because of reflection. Here was a machine that had traveled farther than any human, survived longer than most missions could ever hope for, and it had done so quietly, steadily, without complaint. For decades, it had listened and spoken across a void where no light could guide it, where each command took hours to arrive. And yet it functioned, until suddenly, it didn't. The event served as a reminder of the fragility of all things human, even our most enduring feats. Voyager 2 had survived cosmic radiation, frigid cold, and the isolation of deep space. But in the end, all it took was a misaligned antenna, an angle slightly off, to sever its voice. That vulnerability resonated with the global audience. If even Voyager 2 could fall silent, what else might be at risk? It raised questions not just about the future of space exploration, but about the sustainability of our technological achievements, the durability of our ambitions. It was also a reflection of time itself. Voyager 2, launched in 1977, had outlived the world that created it. The people who built it had retired or passed on. The computer systems that guided it had long become obsolete. And yet, it persisted out there, still obeying commands sent from Earth-based systems that now needed translation from a bygone era. Its endurance was both a triumph and a warning, testament to the ingenuity of its creators, but also a symbol of how quickly progress can outpace itself. The silence of Voyager 2 highlighted another truth, that in space, there are no guarantees. Every success, every discovery, every prolonged signal from a spacecraft is a miracle of precision, patience, and probability. The vast distances amplify every mistake. every moment of carelessness, every burst of cosmic interference. That Voyager 2 had remained functional and in contact for nearly half a century was astonishing. That it could be lost in a blink because of a slight directional error was sobering. The emotional gravity of the event was not just for scientists and engineers. It was for dreamers, poets, and everyday people who had grown up hearing about Voyager's journey. The idea that a piece of human civilization had left the solar system and kept going, that it was out there, in the void, still talking to us, was deeply romantic. Its silence felt like the closing of a chapter, not just in science, but in identity. It wasn't just a probe going silent, it was part of our own story being paused. Despite the technical nature of the incident, it sparked philosophical conversations. What does it mean to reach out into the cosmos? Why do we send machines so far from home, knowing that they will almost certainly outlast us, that they will never return? Voyager 2 had become something mythic, a digital message in a bottle tossed into the ocean of space. Its silence raised questions about what we leave behind, about the artifacts of our existence, about our legacy in the universe. The event also had a unifying effect. In a world often fragmented by politics, conflict, and cultural divides, the fate of a decades-old spacecraft created a rare moment of global attention. Everyone, regardless of background or belief, could marvel at the same thing. Everyone could grasp the poignancy of that silence. Voyager 2 was not an American achievement, it was a human one. Its journey belonged to everyone, and its pause was felt by all. Even among those with little interest in astronomy, the story resonated. It was the narrative of an old traveler far from home, suddenly unable to call back. It was easy to project onto it the loneliness of age, the fragility of connection, the beauty of exploration that has no return ticket. It made people think, not just about Voyager, but about their own lives, their own travels, their own silent calls into the dark. There was something profound about realizing that a machine built with slide rules and analog circuits had wandered into the interstellar night and stayed alive for so long. Its silence was a reminder of the sheer audacity of sending such a fragile thing into such a hostile environment. Voyager 2 was never built to last this long. It wasn't supposed to make it past Neptune, much less into the space between stars. Its journey had always been improbable, and that improbability made its silence all the more heartbreaking. The technical aspects of the event, how commands were misrouted, how the antenna was pointed just wrong enough to break the link, were almost secondary to the larger feeling it provoked. That feeling was one of awe and melancholy, the sense of something precious being momentarily lost. Voyager 2 wasn't just sending telemetry, it was holding our questions, our intentions, our history. It was proof that we had once dared to reach that far, and it was still moving forward, even when we could no longer hear it. The implications stretched beyond nostalgia. It posed serious questions about how we manage deep space missions, about redundancy and autonomy in spacecraft design, about how we maintain contact with objects at the very limits of our technological reach. It forced a reckoning with the boundaries of human control. We had sent something beyond the solar system, but we were still trying to control it as if it were in orbit above Earth. The moment emphasized the need for adaptive technologies, for artificial intelligence aboard spacecraft, for systems that can make decisions when Earth is just too far away. This incident also served as a metaphor for humanity's place in the cosmos. Here we are on a small blue planet trying to talk to something billions of miles away, and sometimes the line just goes dead. That is the reality of space. It doesn't accommodate our timelines, our urgency, our pride. Space is patient, indifferent, and vast. And in that vastness, even our greatest triumphs can fall quiet with no notice. Yet, even in that silence, Voyager 2 retained a kind of dignity. It didn't crash. It wasn't destroyed. It simply drifted on, just as it was designed to do, obeying the last command it had received. That image, a lone craft sailing through the interstellar dark, still working, still journeying, is haunting and beautiful. It speaks to the enduring spirit of exploration, of persistence without acknowledgement, of purpose even in isolation. For a moment, the world remembered what it meant to look outward with wonder. Voyager 2 had always been more than a scientific tool. It was a statement, a message, a hope made manifest in circuitry and solar shielding. Its silence didn't erase that. If anything, it magnified it. The pause in communication underscored the sheer miracle that it had been speaking to us for so long at all. As Voyager 2 continued its silent voyage, the world watched, waited, and reflected, not out of expectation for some dramatic recovery, but because of what it meant to have something of ours out there enduring. It didn't matter if we could hear it. What mattered was that it was still going, that our reach had extended that far, that somewhere far beyond the pull of the sun, a messenger from Earth was still traveling. Voyager 2's silence became a touchstone, a quiet echo of the questions that had always driven us to explore. Who are we? Where are we going? What remains of us when we're gone? In losing contact, even temporarily, we were reminded of those questions with a force that charts and graphs and data could never convey. The silence was louder than any transmission. In that stillness, there was no panic, no fire, no final signal. Just space, and a spacecraft, and a pause, and for a moment the world stood still with it. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us. What are your thoughts on Voyager 2's unexpected signal, end or breakthrough? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.